Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Max Revive, the first episode of these small series that I will be putting on the FullRestore channel. The Max Revive is a show all about challenge runs and new ways to play Pokemon. You can submit in the comments or by email anything, any kind of new challenge or way to play the game, anything, and I will talk about it on this show, or maybe even talk about it with you on Skype, and submit it to this channel. This channel is very interactive, and I want you all to understand that. Now, let's get on to my new run, my new challenge. It is called the Schema Run. So, welcome to the Schema Run. You will be playing the role of a character who uses a specific type. However, since monotype runs aren't exactly practical or fair, these rules will enable a unique, fun, and challenging new way to play Pokemon. In a Schema Run, you can be the dragon tamer you always want to be without being limited to 1 to 5 Pokemon. A Schema Run is where you take a list of 30 characters from a region or a game that you will be able to encounter in the game. And you take all the Pokemon that are of your type, you pick a type, take all the Pokemon that are in your type, and then you fill up the rest of the 30 slots with Pokemon that fit. When you think of poison type, you think of certain things. When you think of grass type and dark type and fairy type, certain concepts fit into your head. And then you take those characteristics and you find Pokemon that fit that, and then you put them into the list. Or you can use a list that someone else has created. I will provide lists for every single type for many different games. I'm starting with Auras. And you can take that list and you can start a run. Or if you want more individuality, you can make your own list. Now, the idea is that Shroomish is a mushroom Pokemon, yet it isn't a poison type. However, we wouldn't complain if a Toxic Heal Toxic Orb Breloom was on a poison type trainer's team. It makes sense. It fits the schema. We also don't complain that the Great Dragon Tamer Lance has a Charizard and a Gyarados when they're not dragons, but they're still dragons, you know? So they fit the schema. Now, the rules of a Schema Run are set, but the lists themselves are very unique in that they vary from region to region and game to game. They are Pokemon that you will encounter, Pokemon that you can encounter in the game before the end of the game. And they are spaced out so that you can have certain Pokemon catch throughout the game, and not all of your catches are at the end of the game. And every single list has around the same amount. 30 Pokemon, maybe a little bit more because of certain discrepancies I'll talk about in a sec, but you have a set amount of Pokemon that you can use, and no more. And you just go, and you can catch within the areas and all that stuff. Now, to get into the rules, the specific rules. You will find or create a list of 30 Pokemon that fit the archetype of a certain Pokemon typing from the available Pokemon in a specific game. I will be providing a list for the home region or Auras, but you can make your own list for increased immersion. For example, in Alpha Sapphire, Milotic, Sceptile, and Gyarados would all be available for use in a Dragon-type team, as they share many characteristics with typical Draconic things. Number 2 rule. Species Clause. You can only catch 1 Pokemon of each type. You have 30 Pokemon to work with, nothing more, nothing less, with the exception of a discrepancy that I'll talk about in a sec. 3rd rule. Fully Evolved Assumption. If a Pokemon evolves into a new type, it is considered to be those types. So, Breloom is a fighting type. So you would mark Breloom on your fighting type list, and you can still catch a Shroomish even if it's not a fighting type, because it will evolve into a fighting type. However, with certain things where the type changes and it loses a type instead of gaining one, that's in the realm of discussion. Whether or not you count Masquerain as a water type, that's up to the list maker or the player. Now, those are the set rules for now, and these are the secondary rules. Those are the main ones. Here are the ones that go along with it that are the more advanced things to learn about. The first thing is Rule 4. Special Starter. If it is available to you, you may trade your starter Pokemon for a new Pokemon that fits your schema, only if your starter is not in your schema. See, this is for more immersion and theming. However, your new starter must be part of your type, not just your schema. You can get a Duskull as your Ghost Run starter, but not a Wobbuffet, even if it is on your schema list. This is to avoid trying to play the cards to get a very OP Pokemon at the beginning of the game. This is not about stacking the list to your advantage. This is about making a monotype style run fair and fun. This is about being that type of trainer. Number 5, early game handicap. This is a very important and very tricky thing. 3 Pokemon outside of your type theme, outside of your schema list, may be caught before your first gym battle, as to give your party some legs to stand on if you have no early catches on your schema list. It is heavily advised, however, that you eventually have a team entirely of Pokemon from your schema. For example, if you keep your starter and you have to, say you have to get a Lanoon, you have to get the bird or whatever of your region, because you need to get at least 3 Pokemon and you only have 1 for the first area that you can catch, which doesn't often happen, but some types like ice, it's a little hard. The 6th is a discrepancy that I talked about earlier. Clones. Some lists may appear to have more Pokemon to choose from, but this is usually due to clone Pokemon and other similar things. A schema list may have 31 or 32 Pokemon to pick from, but this would be due to a plus or minus situation or other exceptions, such as region and game exclusives that are kind of roped together, or split evolutions and yada yada yada. This may be chosen to be disregarded, and you can include plus and minus as 2 totally different Pokemon and stay at 30 and kick something else off the list. This is a disadvantage since you have less variety, but if you wish to do it, you can. Finally, for now, rule number 7. Name everyone. Because you gotta. You gotta name Pokemon nowadays if you want to get into the challenge run scene, because you can make comics, you can make YouTube series, and you can make all sorts of things with these challenge runs. We've seen them with the Nuzlocke community, and names are very, very important to characterization of your team. Speaking of Nuzlockes, here are the optional things, because as this stands right now, the only challenge is that you have a limited amount of Pokemon to pick from, and you have to wait to get a lot of them. That isn't enough challenge for most people, so here are the optionals that work very, very well with this game. Option number 1 is the hard mode challenge. First encounter in an area is your only attempt to catch a Pokemon in that area. If that Pokemon faints, it cannot be used again, which means that now you go from having 30 Pokemon to pick from to only as many as there are routes that those kind of Pokemon can appear on. So if you have 2 Pokemon that only appear in Route 3, Route 003 or Route 103, yada yada yada, you can only get 1 of them. Now here's the thing. This is different from a normal hard mode run, because if you run into something that is not of your schema, you can disregard it and it's not your encounter yet. You keep going until you have a viable encounter. It's your first viable encounter in an area. The variants upon this variant are 2 things. One is something that I have made that will be talked about in a later video. This is the Schema Run variant. You must become champion to bring back any Pokemon that have fainted. Any Pokemon that have fainted are in a coma and cannot be woken up, and they need to be woken up by you beating the game. I will talk about the Schema Run in a later video, but basically, it's a role player's dream where there's incentive to beat the game other than just beating the game. The Nuzlocke variant, where Pokemon that faint die, I think I have my beef with, because there's no incentive to beat the game. It's just like, you know, if you go out in a blaze of madness with 5 Pokemon dying in your final battle of a Nuzlocke, did you really even win? But if you go out in a blaze of glory and 5 things faint on your way to fighting the champion, it's glorious because you put everything on the line, and if it comes out good, if you win, then everything wakes up and it's amazing and you beat the game and you woke up all your friends. And if you don't, then everything that you bet on the line faints, and then you have to try up another team to wake them up too. It just, I think it adds so much more stress, but that's something for another video. And if just having hard mode rules, the fainting rules, and the catching rules aren't enough, there is the paired run. This is an alternation on the wedlock challenge from Maryland. The paired run, which is another thing that I'll talk about in another video that I've taken and made my own variant of. The paired run is, instead of going boy girl as a wedlock does, which doesn't really add any more challenge, it just adds more of a mess. The paired run is Pokemon that you catch are instantly paired together. Your first Pokemon is paired with your second Pokemon, third with your fourth, and fifth with your sixth. And you cannot use the PC if you're doing a paired run. You can only use the PC when something is being retired from your team to never be used again, or if something has fainted in a hard mode challenge and you're replacing it. And you cannot break up pairs. If you retire one, you have to retire the other. And you only fight in the pairs. You cannot switch out of the pairs. So if your number 1 Pokemon faints, you have to fight with your number 2. Sometimes you gotta go down with your pair, with your partner. But back to Schema Run. I'm going to talk more about this. I'm going to flesh it out more, and I'm going to upload series that are doing Schema Runs and testing it out. And I'm going to be playing an actual Schema Run on my ORS file after I, reset. And I'm going to be uploading my lists that I've created after I revisit them for these schemas. And I'm going to make one for every single game, for every single type. 30 Pokemon to pick from for every game, for every region. But here's why this is much better than any Nuzlocke or any other challenge that you've ever heard of before. Because while a Nuzlocke allows you to replay all the games again, a Schema Run is so amazing because you can play every single game over again 17 more times and get a unique experience every single time. 17 more times. And if you're a YouTuber, this means almost infinite content. And typically, most people have more than one favorite type. So you can play at least twice of the same game and still enjoy it. There's the role player aspect of the Schema Run that is amazing, where you can be a monotype trainer but not have the worries of being strictly monotype. And then there's also the uploader and, actual game player aspect of it, where you can play the games over and over and over again, and it'll be new each time. In a Nuzlocke, if you play the same game over and over again in a Nuzlocke, or in a hard mode challenge, or even in a pair run, you're going to end up with similar teams in the beginning. And, the beginning of the game is going to be the same every single time. In these, even the very beginning of the game can be different each time with the starter handicap. It's absolutely amazing. It's like turning on a randomizer. It's awesome. And I think everyone should try a Schema Run. And I think everyone should try multiple Schema Runs. So stay tuned for demo gameplay and for other videos telling about Schema Run. Please, if you're watching this video before watching the podcast, please go watch the podcast. I talk about it in great extent there. And also stay tuned for, if you want to tell me things that you find wrong with this, things I haven't talked about, then I will definitely make another video after collecting all the data from you guys and update this Schema Run. This Schema Run, other than the podcast and all these other shows, is a pivotal part of this channel. The Schema Run is the golden egg of this channel. This is incredibly important to me. I want Schema Runs to get popular, and I think they will get popular. So please, play a Schema Run, or if you're not sure quite about all the details, watch me start a Schema Run, and I'll play one, and just play Schema Runs, and get other people to play Schema Runs. And if you don't like something about it, make your own list, change the name of it, but I want people to start playing this because Nuzlocke are dying. Nuzlocke are dying off so much that people like Maryland have to do wedlocks and wonder wedlocks and no healing runs and no Pokemon Center runs, and like they have to do all these other things to make it more difficult, to make it different, so that people will keep watching it. But more difficult isn't always more fun. And that's the thing about the Nuzlocke community that has just happened, where at first it was this role-playing wonder of, oh my god, things are dying, this is, very intense and I'm bonding. Now it's just, it's making everyone very platonic, and so, oh, yep, okay, I gotta sack at this point, do this. Everyone knows how to play every single game as a Nuzlocke. They know the ropes and they know what they have to do at each point. It's not as surprising. That's why people have to do wonder locks, where they don't have any idea what they'll get. I was so bored with Nuzlocke that after I did my paired run, I had to do a mystery egg lock, where my friends gave me random eggs. That's how I made it interesting. You don't have to you can innovate, you can keep innovating, but you don't have to do a Nuzlocke anymore. Schema Runs are the new way to play Pokemon. And I hope you see me on another episode of Max Survive, and please enjoy this link cable to all of the other videos we have. And please follow the link cable through to the other channels of the TPT network. You have my channel, Pet Plays, which has 4 years of content on all sorts of stuff. Then you have Dawnstone, where we're playing Five Nights at Freddy's 3, and we're also going to be playing other things. I think we're going to upload some Civ gameplay there at some point. Also, we have Pat's channel, the other Pat. We have 2 Pats in the network. And Pat, the Red German, whose name is going to be changed to Redger, or Redgerock. And he will be having live-action homemade movies, like films, and board game and RPG gameplay. Coming to his channel will be Magic the Gathering gameplay, which will be very fun. Like actual footage, live action of the cards being played, and us playing it in live time, and it'll be great. We have a new channel coming to the network, which would be an animation channel where you'll see some of my friends making a game and the behind-the-scenes steps of that process. And then there's another channel coming, which, well, if Otto joins, I'll just keep it a secret because it'll be quite the surprise what he uploads. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the link cable. Hope you enjoyed the Max Survive. And I will see you all next time. Please, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. And welcome, and please fill your bag. Welcome to FullRestore.